Season 4 of Vox Machina is officially in the bag, so with one last season to go, the question remains, how did we do and where do we go from here? Welcome back, everyone. We are here today to talk about Vox Machina, the Legend of Vox Machina, Season 4. I just finished it. I did my finale review, and so now it's time for us to talk about the season at large. Before we get into it, I want to know, what does Vox Machina have to do, in your opinion, to stick the final landing for the finale? Because we've already had 2 shows now that are building towards a series finale involving Vecna, and my goodness, one of those at least needs to be a banger. You know what I mean? I mean, we had Stranger Things, but I feel like they dropped the ball, whereas Vox Machina has been nonstop going down that hill, just building up this boulder so that it's going to be an amazing smash finale. I hope that's true. My fingers, my toes are crossed, but I have faith after watching season 4, and I'm going to tell you why in this video. But don't worry, we're also going to talk about some things that I think were questionable and that I've had some time to reflect on, and I think I know maybe where we went wrong with a few things in the season. But first off, let's start with the beginning, because I think we need to ask ourselves, what happens after happily ever after? That's kind of what season 4 is about. And I thought after the end of season 3, I thought, how do you even continue this show? We really wrapped everything up. We just had the Chroma Conclave that we took down. I mean, how do you top that? How do you top not just one dragon, but a whole collection of dragons? And what I love about season 4 is when we start off with our heroes, it really does feel like everyone is in this very secure place with their characters. They really are all max level. You know, clearly Pike is going through some stuff and Scanlan isn't here. So there is a little bit of some loose threads, but for the most part, it feels like we've come full circle. So what more do you do here? What more do you say? And what I love about this season is that it feels like everything is actually built to this place that we're at the beginning of season 4 and throughout it. And anything that was left unresolved, any little bit of baggage that we have, we are packing that up to make sure that we deal with it before we wrap up this story with our heroes. And that's what season 4, I think, is all about. It's about addressing the things that are left unspoken, and it's about examining, when you do get your happily ever after, then what? What's next? And the fact that our heroes are also splintered at the beginning of this season and have to find their way back to each other is a part of what I think we need to resolve. You know, these are people that fought together, that are supposed to be these amazing friends, and yet at the beginning they're so disconnected from each other. Granted, this is a world where we don't have cell phones. I mean, you could probably send a message, but there's a range on that, so you can't send it too far. I don't know how far you can max out your message spell in D&D, but I can't imagine it's like across a world. I don't know. Also, if you're wondering, you know, everything building to this, and I'm talking about all of that, and just all of the beauty of how the previous seasons led us to where we are here, don't worry, we are going to talk about Pike. We're going to talk about that because I do have some thoughts on Pike's journey this season. But before we get to that, I do want to acknowledge that not only are we bringing back a lot of the elements from the earlier seasons from Vox Machina to make season 4 feel impactful and to make it feel like the momentum is really carrying forward with our story, but there are also little Easter eggs here from other campaigns as well. So when we're doing world building in Exandria, we're not just doing the world building of Vox Machina, we are doing the world building, laying the groundwork for other campaigns. There's some stuff from campaign 3 here. Marisha's character, I believe, is in here, which I think is amazing. I haven't seen any of the campaign 3 stuff yet. I know it's weird, and I might have to watch it after Mighty 9, but I'm working on that actual play right now. Although I do want to go back and check out some Vox Machina stuff. You all have recommended episode 85 to me, so stay tuned for more Critical Role content, because all of that will be coming on the channel. But the world building, I thought in this season, we really leveled that up. And that's not the only thing that we leveled up this season. Oh, no, 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 no. You thought the story was just being leveled up? Oh, you sweet summer child. The animation is absolutely insane. When I was watching the last 3 episodes, there's one episode that just starts with smoke in the sky. And I was like, this is just smoke in the sky, and it looks so good. It looks better than so many other shows. The animation is crazy. I think they did a really great job with it this season, and I've loved seeing it constantly get more and more polished and refined and detailed as we go through. It's so expressive, and we also have some different styles of animation here. We have Grog's amazing catch-up song, which I love that they just incorporated that into the show, because let's be honest, we all didn't go and watch the first 3 seasons right before watching season 4 of Vox Machina, and it's been a minute. It's nice to have a little recap. Now, granted, maybe some of you did. I know I want to go back and watch all 3 earlier seasons and do reactions to those, so hopefully I'll have that content for you soon, but it's hard. It's hard to find the time. Even when it's your job, it's hard to find the time. So I imagine that's been challenging for everybody. The music was also leveled up this season. Speaking of Grog's recap song, I think all of the songs in this soundtrack are absolute bangers. And what's wild to me, I don't think this has ever happened to me with Vox Machina before season 4, but season 4 is a soundtrack that I would go back and I would just listen to the album of it. I will be walking around this summer, and if you ever see me with my headphones in, out in the world, there's a good chance I'll be listening to Vox Machina on those headphones. We are living in a time where I feel like there's so many soundtracks right now that I'm just absolutely adoring, and Vox Machina Season 4 has been added to my list. And that is in terms of the music that we have for the scenes that is instrumental music. It's also in terms of the original songs that we have from Sam Reigel, which I think are all absolutely amazing. I mean, Monsta, that song, it was stuck in my head after I watched that episode the entire week. And I even love everything we got in the Bard's Lament as well in terms of the music. I love Scanlan's song. It's so beautiful. It's such a beautiful little ballad. It's really sweet. Also, I know there was no Scanlan in this season, but I have to say, the Bard's Lament is still my favorite episode from the season. And when we did get Scanlan, they really delivered. And the benefit of this season is that even though we don't have Scanlan, we of course have Tyrion Darrington, who's played by Wayne Brady in the show, but in the campaign was voiced by Sam Reigel. He was the one that played Tyrion, stepping in to replace his own character, Scanlan, which is why I want to watch that episode 85 that you all have recommended to me. And I have to say that the Scanlan stuff we got was so good that it made me, as a Scanlan fan, feel satisfied, even though he was very absent from the season. And Tyrion, I love Tyrion. No surprise there, a character that Sam Reigel himself created and that Wayne Brady really made his own. I thought he did an amazing job voicing him, and I love both of those characters, so at least we had Tyrion and Dodie as our kind of stand-ins for Scanlan. I thought that was perfect. Also, I just love Tyrion with all his gems. What a weird and cool character, a human artificer. It makes me want to play an artificer. Should I play an artificer in my next D&D campaign? Because I might be starting one soon with some friends. I might be starting one soon. Honestly, we should do one on the channel, and we should record it at some point. That would be so fun. I guess when it comes to season 4, the question is, how do you elevate the stakes? Because we did come from the Chroma Conclave, and what I think they've done that's really smart, the more that I think about the way that this show wrapped, the more I can appreciate what they were doing with the story here. And while I know there are differences from the campaign, and obviously I haven't watched the Vox Machina actual play, so I can't really comment as much on that. When we get back to Mighty 9, because I've been watching that, I will have more comparison notes, but for Vox Machina, I'm just watching the show right now. So y'all have told me about some of the changes, and I acknowledge that some of them sound like they work better than others, but what I appreciate about this show is that it's really letting itself do its own thing. And you know, the actual play still exists. We can always go back and watch that. So doing something different with the story in the show, I think just adds to what we have here in terms of the world. And it allows our writers, it allows our creators to go back and look at everything that we've had in the campaign and in multiple campaigns, and then say, you know, how do we want to adjust this to make a more cohesive story that's less improvised, where we're taking all of the pieces that we love and trying to figure out how do those work in a cohesive narrative that is an animated television series. And I think when it comes to the end of our show here with our finale and Pike switching sides, something that we also need to consider is everywhere that we've been before. Because when Pike is offered that choice by the Whispered One, I know that it's personal because there's Grog and there's Pop Pop, and those are people that she wants to bring back. But it's not just about those characters. This is about everyone we've lost along the journey, and Pike is also being offered this ability to bring back anyone that they've lost before. We're gonna get rid of death, so you'll be safe, your friends will be safe, this won't happen to other people, and also, all those people you lost along the way, what if I could give them back to you? Which I think is a huge offer, and considering that Pike is in a place where she is in this crisis of faith and has been for some time and has been struggling with that, and has been struggling with that disconnect from the Everlight and struggling with the disconnect from her friends, I think it makes sense that she made the choice that she did. So for Pike, there's a lot to consider there, and I can understand why she turned face. Now, did the show do a great job of capturing everything that I just laid out for you and making that super clear for the character and why she made the choice? I think we could have gotten a little bit more in terms of what they built in the show, and I do think we needed a little bit more when it came to Pike going from I'm going to fight my friends to I'm going to join my friends again. I do think that happened a little too quickly, and we just didn't get enough of a moment with Pike to understand that. And I know some people are just annoyed that this season was so Pike focused and that it feels like this is all kind of coming out of nowhere. But I think if you go back to the beginning of the show and you were to watch it through to this point now, to the end of season 4, you will see what they've been building for Pike, because I really do believe that it's there. And I'm very excited to go back and watch all of the earlier seasons and see this build up to season 4 and see if I'm right about that. But it does feel to me like we've been building a lot of what we saw with Pike in this season since the beginning of the show. And a lot of what we've been building in general since the beginning of the show has been built. And having someone like Vecna come in at the end, played by Andy Serkis, who does an amazing job, by the way. I love Andy Serkis. He is such an amazing actor. He's got such a great voice. And I know that Matt had joked in the campaign. Someone was telling me in the comments that he had made the joke of, if we have Vecna, if we had an animated show, I'd love for Mark Hamill to play him. Or maybe it wasn't a joke. It probably was just a legitimate wish. So we don't have Mark Hamill here, but I do think Andy Serkis is more than an amazing consolation prize for us, because dang does he play a good Vecna. And he is so good at playing that character that you want to like with Gideon. But of course, as soon as I heard Andy Serkis' voice, I was suspicious. I figured with someone like Andy Serkis, if we don't know who he's playing, it probably is someone super bad. And that was the case. Also, playing a priest. And I don't know, for some reason, I'm always a little nervous about that. The only priest that I really like in any series is Ethelstan from Vikings. I love him. So I think we did a great job having Vecna show up here, but also connecting Vecna back to the beginning of our story. And not just to the story, but to the party. The whole reason that Vecna is able to return is because of Vox Machina. They were integral to his plan. And I don't know if that's how it went in the actual play. I haven't watched it, like I said, but I think that that is a great choice for them to make in this story of saying, every place that you've been, Tyrion bringing you back together, all of that was me. I've been plotting for 500 years. I've had multiple contingencies. You were all part of this, and you think you're in control of your fate, but you're not. And I think what a beautiful place to put Vox Machina in at the end of season 4, where a lot of what the story feels like it's been about is this idea of the threads of fate and how they kind of connect people, especially with everything that Vax has been through with the matron. So that felt really good. It felt like we were making Vecna personal. And granted, I know this is not Vecna in the traditional sense of Dungeons and Dragons. This is our own version of Vecna for this world, for Exandria, for Critical Role. But what I love about what they've done with Vecna here is that they have made him so personal. It's so intentional. And that's where I think Stranger Things really went wrong with Vecna, because we built up some stuff with Henry. We built up some cool things to make Vecna personal. And then we just kind of forgot about it, it felt, at the end of the show. Whereas this feels like we're really weaving all of that in. So when we get to that finale, everything feels meaningful. Like we've been building to this moment, and it feels satisfying. And that's why I loved season 4. So ultimately, I loved it. I do have a few little nitpicks, but overall, I think it was such an amazing season. And I think it's actually my favorite season since season 1. So Wow. That's all I have for this one. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Let me know your thoughts on season 4 down in the comments below. Let's discuss. I'll see you in the next one. And until next time, friends, as always, stay nerdy. Bye. And if you love when I talk about Critical Role, don't worry. We're going to be doing more of that here. And you can check out more of that content over here.